Hey, gang, and welcome to another episode of Everybody Wants England. Now, I'd originally planned to do three movies, and three movies is what I told Chris, who is waiting backstage for me to add him. However, I didn't quite get to that last movie, and I don't like to come on here and be out talking out of my butt or talking out of the side of my mouth about a movie. So, I thought I would just stick with the ones that I watched and can really talk about and give an idea of how Robert Englund's performance was in each one of these. Um, so we're only going to be talking about Windfall and the Return of Cagliostro. I think that's how it's pronounced. I think it's Italian. So I think Chris only watched Windfall, so um, that will probably be the one that we're talking about the most, and then I'll talk a little bit. Can't talk a little bit about Return of Cagliostro, which I'm going to tell you right now, I recommend it just because it's so funny. But I just want to remind everybody that, hey, Batman, I want to remind everybody that tomorrow night will be another Apples and Oranges. This one's going to be more, yeah, extremely more lighthearted than last week's Apples and Oranges. And not that last week's Apples and Oranges wasn't a good one, it was a good one. We had, a lot of deep discussion. But when you have one that's kind of that deep and that serious, I think it's good to for the next one to be kind of more lighthearted. And this is going to be on Terror on Tour. What exactly is wrong with Terror on Tour? And CK and Uncle Bill would probably say, what exactly is right about that movie? That they would probably say that would be a shorter string to do. And then we also want to compare it with the other rock horror films like Trick or Treat and Rocktober Blood and Black Roses and all those different types of rock horror films that came out around the same time. So if you are interested in joining me live on the stream for that one, Chris probably will if he can. I can usually count on Chris wanting to come on here. But if there's anybody else that wants to join us on here and talk about Terror on Tour, and I'm hoping that CK and Uncle Bill will come on because it's always a fun time when me and those guys kind of mix it up a little bit and start carrying on with each other over things that one of us obviously hates. One or more of us obviously hates and somebody else likes. Those are usually the fun ones. I don't think we're going to have the virtual talking stick out for this one. Um, but it's sure to be a fun time. Now, Thursday, I guess I'll do another triple threat review show. I'm not sure what the movies are going to be that I'm going to cover. It will be a surprise. Friday will be, you're going to get a double shot of me because I'm going to be on here twice doing Terror Time Tea. I'm going to be talking about another couple of movies. Again, I haven't picked the movies for that just yet. But then at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, me and Candace will be on, hopefully. As far long as everything goes well, we will be talking about weird and unique foods. So if anybody wants to join us live for that or join us in the chat and share some of your weird and unique foods that you like to eat, maybe on a regular basis, a semi-regular basis, or whatever, um, we'd be glad to have you on here with us. So um, be sure to let me know. Um, at least maybe a day in advance if you want to be on. That way I can make sure that I get the link out to everybody so that they can come on. But I do have my new Scooby Doo Movies Robert Englund shirt on tonight in honor of Everybody Wants England. And if you want to get a shirt like this, you can over at deaditesondeck.com, and I'll make you one of these lovely shirts. I don't keep them, a bunch in stock because I don't know how many I'm going to sell, but I'll be happy to make a custom order for you if you want to order one of these or one of the other designs I've got. I've got some horror candles, got some terror time teas, and of course, the Booga Booga Bears as well. And hopefully, I'll be able to have some new items on as soon as humanly possible. You say CK and UB got a big stick up their butts. I think they just like what they like. Is the thing, and sometimes I mesh with them on what we all like, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we clash a little bit. Um, you know, like like CK likes the forest, and I have not been able to stay awake during that movie. Every time I watch it, I fall asleep. Uh, we have a difference of opinion between Madman and The Burning. I like Madman, but I like Burning better, and he's the opposite. How much money, Uncle Bill, am I gonna pay you guys to do a Tear on Tour stream? This much. You guys should want to come on here just because you're my friends. This would make it more fun if you would come on. Mayor says he just left CK and UB a message on the Discord that just called both of them oot. You say you agree, Mayor, on the force, a real snooze fest? Well, not everybody, but those two guys keep telling me that it's got a lot of cool stuff in it, including cannibalism. But I didn't see it yet because I keep falling asleep before it gets to that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and add Chris here, and we'll go ahead and get started in a sec. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Dana, how's it going?
Good. Except when I got to work or logged in to work, there were some really bad storms in Dallas where our base of operations or Smile Doctor, and it was taking everybody's internet down. Like the clinics were calling, putting in tickets saying, our internet's down, our internet's down. And it was all because the power went out at Dallas.
Well, yeah, our internet went out today too, and our phone service.
Oh,
So, like, my shift at work started at 9 o'clock this morning, and around 1:15 p.m., um, the internet went out. Our mobile phone service went out, and it was just like that for everybody in the area for about 3 hours. So I had to miss 3 hours of work.
oh
But it's okay because I watched a movie in that meantime. I watched Porky's actually,
my.
and, um, and funny enough, and that was before I actually knew the movies that we were going to be discussing tonight. And because when you mentioned me, I quickly put on Windfall and I watched that, and Cyril O'Reilly from Porky's
Yeah.
is in Windfall. I
Yes.
was like, wow, that kind of works. I
And
can
Ray Wise is also in it from Twin Peaks.
right, and and I was looking at the IMDb page for Windfall, and it says that Daniel Roebuck had a part, but I don't remember seeing him.
I don't remember seeing him either.
Yeah, it says he played a character named Packard, and I'm like, I don't even remember seeing him at all in that movie.
I'll have to go back and take another look at it
It
because,
was just very brief, just a quick, like maybe a few seconds or something. I don't know.
right. Uncle Bill, you say you promised yourself you'd never watch Terror on Tour again because it gives you anal syphilis. Well, I ain't got no anal syphilis, so, and I've seen it many times. I didn't say you had to watch it again, Uncle Bill. You can just get on here and talk about it. I'm sure that you and CK could come up with enough crap to say about Terror on Tour. But
I'm sorry, I had because I just like that you repeated it. He's like, I ain't got no anal syphilis.
um Mayor, you want to know how old is the movie we're talking about? Well, Windfall is from 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So 22 years ago.
yeah, yeah, and and Robert Englund doesn't look ancient now, but he still looked pretty young on that particular
Mm-hmm.
film. Hey, Blissful.
Hey, Blissful.
So I guess we'll go ahead and get started talking about Windfall first, and Chris, do you want to start talking about it first, or do you want me to?
I guess I can. Well, like I said, this is another movie that Dana has introduced me to that I have never seen before. Um, and we just watched, what was it, last week? We covered Python.
Yep,
And so here in Windfall, we have Casper Van Dien and Robert England teaming up again,
we
just like
do.
just like they did in Python. And Robert England plays like the comic relief in this.
I
And
love his character. I love
because
his.
the last few that we have watched, like he's kind of like more serious or like a kind of a villainous, which he's not really villainous in this. He's more like a mischievous, like kind of like, like I said, like comic relief type criminal that, and which this whole movie is about, kind of is like a redemption for
Mhm.
Casper Van Dien's character and Robert England's character. Um, and you know, I still don't really know what to think about this movie, Dana.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't hate it, but I also didn't like it very much either.
Right,
Uh,
that's fair.
um, and I'm going to pick it apart just a little bit.
Okay.
So I get that it was a made for TV movie. Um, but there is like a lot of like stock music all throughout the film, and it feels like it's on a continuous loop throughout
Right.
the whole film. Um, and I don't think this film knew what it wanted to be. Uh,
Right.
like it didn't know if it wanted to be a crime heist film or like a disaster film, because there's a lot going on in this.
Yes. They're most cer
And Greg Henry's in this, which he's in Body Double. He's in a lot. He's in Payback, I believe, with Mel Gibson.
he
Uh,
was in, Just Before Dawn,
yeah, yeah, he
for
was
way
just
back.
that was early on in his career, and I know recently he done Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and 3. He has a small part in those as Peter Quill's grandfather.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, like he in this, I don't know. Like I usually like Greg Henry in stuff that I've seen, especially on Body Double, and Just for Dawn. He's great in that too. Even though that was early in his career, he did a great job.
Mhm.
This, I don't know. I don't know if it was just the directing of how the lines were delivered in this movie. And Ray Wise is the same way. It just felt like so wooden to me almost.
Mhm.
Um, and Jay Henry in this film looks like he's the love child of Dolph Lundgren and John Travolta.
He does. I didn't think about that till you said that, but yeah. And he
But
always looks, didn't you think he looked like he had been sucking on lemons before every scene he was in?
well, he did look like he was like his something was going on with his face. Like he was like just all puckered up and like he was not enjoying being there or something. But I'm sure, like he probably got a good payday out of this because he is the head villain
Yeah.
And that's the odd thing. Like it's like you in the beginning of this movie, you think like he's a good guy, and Robert Englund and Casper Van Dien's characters are the bad guys. But it's like a role reversal thing after the fact that you after you find out what's going on. Um, but Yeah, and there's a few comical things in this, like, and I sorry if I'm spoiling anything if nobody's ever seen it, but there's a part in the end when they're trying to get away because they're like in the eye of this hurricane that's
Yeah.
coming towards the town, and like everybody, I don't, they seem to get like just a select amount of people on this boat to get off this island or whatever, which seemed kind of ridiculous to me, but there when Greg Henry's character, which his name is Trask, by the way, in the movie, and he is trying to escape, and like one of his like security, the security guy's name is Russell, and so they get on this helicopter with all this money and stuff, and the pilot starts going up, and he's like, "We need to lose some weight. There's too much weight, you know." And so they come back down, and then like Trask and his like head of security Russell get out of to like they're going to unload one of the bags of money or something, and then Trask just turns around and shoots his head of security because he's a heavy set guy, and he's
Yeah.
like. And I kind of figured that's what was going on when they said they needed to drop some. I was like, he's going to kill that guy.
Yeah.
And then he gets back in the helicopter and he's like, okay, we lost some weight. So I was like, okay. I mean, that was I guess, pretty easy to take care of. Um, but
Get the extra weight off there and kill them, and then you're done.
yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that's what was coming. But yeah, like overall, like, it had some pretty good like chase scenes in it too. I did enjoy that. And then there's one scene which I'm kind of on the fence about it, but it was parts of it were cool. When him and the girl that's like his love interest, her name's Amber in the film.
Mhm.
I'm not sure what the actress's name was,
Nah,
but they're like in this like speedboat, and then
mm,
these guys are after them, and then like Casper Van Dien's character like jumps onto this like ship that's out in the water, and like he's like running through there, and there's all these like signs of like it's a flammable and explosive stuff on that, and they're like shooting at him, and everything's exploding, and it's just like your typical like action scene that you would see in like a made for TV movie that was an action film. And that would and speaking of the lady that plays in this, that played the Amber character, that was another thing. Like I didn't really care for about the film
mhm.
because like she comes out of nowhere in the beginning of the film, and like they're just the relationship between her and Casper Van Dien's character Ace. Um, Amber and Ace are just rushed together into this like,
Yeah.
and I I don't know. I didn't really feel any chemistry between those two, between her and him. And it's always funny because like in every scene they show, when like if there's someone else in the scene with them, say Robert Englund for example, and they share a kissing scene, Robert Englund's always standing off to the side, just like shaking his head and like.
Right. Exactly.
But that if I could pick one thing about this movie that I did enjoy the most, it would be Robert Englund's character of
Mhm.
Scratch, I think his name was.
Trash. Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, he's like the comic relief of the film, and he has a few like lines, like after one of the scenes when like Ace and Amber kiss. They're walking out of this vault and down a hallway, and Scratch, Robert Englund's character, says, "Where's my kiss?" or something.
Yeah. I laughed at that. It's like he just looks at me and said, "Where's my kiss?"
So, like I said, overall, I mean, I didn't hate it,
Mhm.
but I also didn't like it very much.
Right.
Uh, but I mean, it's watchable. I will say that, and like there are parts here and there that I did enjoy. So.
Okay. Well, I'll talk about a little bit, and then me and Chris will give our ratings on this. Now, I would have to agree with everything that Chris said. Um, And I knew that he would like the Scratch character
Yeah.
because I I think this is probably, as far as Robert Englund's characters in movies, this is one of my favorites. Like, I'd say one of my favorite non-Freddy roles that he had. Because I just think Robert Englund is great at playing comedy. I mean, he can play bad guys. He can play the sadistic Freddy Krueger, but I think the man really shines when you let him do comedy. Um, People might disagree with me on that. And I'm not saying I don't love watching him as Freddy Krueger or love watching him as a more unsavory character, but I just like, oh, Robert Englund. So, I think maybe this is the woman in me fall in love with that type of character and just that he is personifying that character. It just makes me love Robert Englund even more watching him play these characters. They're just so lovable. And even though at the beginning Ace and Scratch seem to be more of criminals
Hmm.
than they are like just fun guys you want to hang out with. But as the movie went along, um, more so Robert Englund than the character of Ace. Uh, what I want to hang out with, I just want to like just latch on to Robert Englund, just hang out with him all day. Um, just because it was just so much fun watching him on screen in this. Now, Chris is right too that it's very TV world laden. If anybody can understand what I'm trying to say there, I hope you can, because it's it's almost like the love scenes, or the not love scenes, but the kissing scenes. It makes me think of something from a soap opera.
Yeah.
And then you got, just like Chris said, you've got Robert Englund as the comic relief standing over there to the side, just shaking his head, rolling his eyes, whatever, like, "Here they go again," you know? And I think if you didn't have that, this movie would be much, much worse than it was, because when I started watching, I was like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a cool little action movie." And that's kinda what I told Chris. I said, "I think you're gonna like this one." And I'm sure when he started it off, he thought he was gonna like it better than he ended up liking it. Um, and that was how I felt. I kind of felt a little cheated because they had me fooled at the beginning into thinking that I was gonna see just a pure action film with a few comedy elements. And Chris is right. The movie did not, or the filmmakers did not know what kind of movie they wanted to make, because you've got a hurricane, which hints at disaster movie. And then you've got all these action scenes with stuff blowing up, people getting shot at. Uh,
they're and
car
they're like continuously checking the weather, check on like what's the status of this hurricane, and they're not sure if it's going to hit them like it's supposed to. And they're all, well, that's right. It's mostly Ray Wise's character. He's like, well, we don't know if this is going to hit us, and everybody's like, it's going to, it's coming. He's just like, nah, I don't know about that, but yeah,
Another thing that threw me off at first, and I want to see what Chris thinks about this, is I know that Robert Englund is good at doing accents and different things, but the voice that came out of his mouth, I was like, it took me a while to get used to it. That deep, more deep voiced Robert Englund. I know he does a deep voice when he's doing Freddy.
mm-hmm.
Um, but in other roles, I don't notice his voice being that deep. So it took me a little bit to get used to that voice coming out of his mouth.
I don't know if it's just me but like he just sounds the same to me in everything I see him in. Um,
Maybe,
other than his
Oh,
voice
it's
is a little
just
bit
me.
more. His voice is a little bit more gruff when he plays Freddy. But
Mm,
just to go back a little bit to what you were talking about, I do agree with you as far as I do love seeing Robert Englund in more comedic roles, and because I think that's what he was really, in my opinion, was made to do. Because the Freddy character is obviously his most popular character he's ever played, and there's a lot of comedy to the role of Freddy, and it's what makes that character special. Those one-liners and those
mhm.
little costumes that Freddy would appear in, and just to
Yeah.
give things more of a comedic side to the Nightmare films. Um, and yeah, like so, I enjoy seeing those types of roles from him more so than I
Mhm.
do like his role in Wishmaster or Python. While I do like those, I don't dislike those roles, but
Mhm.
I prefer the more comedic, and I think that's why I like the Paper Brigade a
Yeah.
lot because of his character in that, and because it's so different from anything else. Um, and yeah,
And um, perhaps, well, I was going to say perhaps maybe that's why not because of this movie, because this movie was later, but perhaps the filmmakers, that made some of the later Nightmare on Elm Streets, uh, realized that Stephen King, good Lord, Robert England had an affinity for being able to play those comedic parts, and so maybe just one of them said, because the first two Nightmare on Elm Streets were pretty dark, and three was fairly dark. But then as they moved along after that, they got more and more comedic.
yeah,
Um,
3 was the first one where we started kinda seeing a pattern
more
change
one-liners and
in that film, because we seen how Freddy was portraying all these different, like, kind of, well, not really, it weren't really different characters, but, just different scenarios of, like, more creative ways of how they were, putting the deaths on screen, like when
yeah,
he kills Penelope Sudrow's character, when he comes up out of the TV, and the arms come out of the side of the TV. They're like made of the wires, but then the one arm it's like the Freddy glove. And
yeah.
then like, welcome to prime time, bitch. And
Mm,
then there's also the character, I can't remember his name in the movie, but it's the one when Freddy, you see the little Freddy puppet, and then he
yeah,
makes him the puppet, and he's like guiding him through. So all this, and then they're doing that throughout the whole film. Even like the scene where he comes in with Kristen's mom's head, and he's wearing the tuxedo and everything. Where's the bourbon, bitch? Like that stuff, and that's one of the all that stuff in part three is why that's my favorite Nightmare film.
mhm.
And like I said, that kind of they seen that that's what helped them succeed with that film, and it was popular amongst fans, and that's why they continued it in all the films after that.
Mhm. Now, before me and Chris give our rating on Windfall, I'm going to read through some of these messages because there's some funny stuff in here, especially from CK. I see. Um, let's see. I'm not even going to go on about anal syphilis anymore. Um, Wes says, I can see that haze in the background crater. What you been up to, pal?
Nothing, nothing. I don't know what you're talking about, pal.
He's got a hazy room in there. That's
This is
all.
my son's room. How dare you?
Yeah, how
He's
dare
doing
you say
something
so?
like that.
Oh man. Batman says hearing Chris say that he watched Porky's brought a smile to my face. I bet it did, Batman, because
Yeah. So, like I said, my internet was out today for a while, and I had to do something, in time, just in case, I had to go back to work if the internet did come back on. So I was like, well, I'm gonna do something. So I literally just grabbed the first DVD I saw, and that was the the triple feature pack I have of Porky's 2, and Porky's Revenge, I think. Um, but yeah, I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna watch Porky's. And just what a coincidence that Sarah O'Reilly was in Windfall. And I was like, wow, that kind
That's
of
so
worked out.
that's almost as crazy as y'all's pillow matching the pillow in
Yeah,
Nightmare.
that's awesome. Like I was talking to Candace about that earlier. Actually, I was like, and I told her the same thing that I said to you. I said, wouldn't it be awesome if it came to find out that this pillow that we have is the same one that they used in the movie? She's like, well,
Uh,
I highly doubt that. I said, well, you don't know. I said, we found it at a thrift store. I said, it's possible.
it's could have made its way from where they filmed it to y'all's neck of the woods. I'm not saying that's not out of the realm of
And
possibility.
that'd
What
be
we need to do is take a screenshot of the pillow from the movie and take a picture of y'all's pillow and put them side by side.
oh, we got Rambo's in here. Hey, Rambo, how
Hey,
you doing,
hey,
man?
Rainbow. Um, let's see, and let's see what else was. Well, I can't.
I gotta brag on Rambo real quick.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Him and Mark are a hell of a team when they
They,
do the
yeah,
walk alongs for their. They did a few nights ago or last week, whenever it was. They did Alien 3, and while I don't like Alien 3, actually hate that movie. I enjoyed hearing the Rambo's and Mark's take on it, which Rambo pretty much feels the same way that I do about Alien 3, but it's just always fun to hear somebody that has a mutual dislike for that film, how they
right.
feel, what their thoughts are on it.
Um, well, Wes, I can't help it that you're sick of Robert Englund. We're only on week 21 now. We got some more weeks coming up. Um, I think there's like maybe close to 30 weeks or maybe just over that. So get used to it. It's going to be on for a few more weeks. You want everybody wants Landon. He says, hell, we might do that. Yeah, y'all can do it.
Yeah, that would last about a week. Then you'd be done.
Mayor says, just don't do a show called Everyone Wants Anal Syphilis. No,
Why
I
not?
won't do that.
Why not?
Uncle Bill says, everybody hates Maggie, a Maggie Gyllenhaal retrospective. I don't like Maggie Gyllenhaal. I don't like Jake Gyllenhaal. Um, Mayor says, but Uncle Bill, don't you hate Jake as well? Maybe call it Everyone Hates Gyllenhaal. Oh, man.
I don't hate them. I mean, I actually particularly I like them in some of their stuff. Like I've mentioned Donnie Darko on here before. Both Jake and Maggie are in that.
Hmm.
There was a film I watched with Maggie Gyllenhaal called Secretary. I thought it was really good. But I'm not super familiar with like her line of work. I know she was in one of the Dark Knight movies. I think maybe Dark Knight Rises, or no, just the Dark Knight. I think was she was in.
Gotcha.
And then, but I'm more familiar with Jake Gyllenhaal's career. I'm like, he has some ones I really don't like. It like he did that Roadhouse remake, which is ridiculous.
It is it most certainly is ridiculous, and I didn't sit down and watch the whole thing, I just saw parts of it, and I was just shaking my head.
Yeah, it's pretty
Terrible.
bad. But there's some other ones too that aren't so great. Like, I mean, if you like Brokeback Mountain, more power to you. But it's just not my type of
I
film.
did like Brokeback Mountain, I ain't afraid to say that I like that one, uh, I don't know, I just found it interesting, but I can see where it wouldn't be for everybody.
Yeah, and it's not anything to do with like the gay stuff because I don't mind. I have gay friends, and that's something I'm completely fine. It's just the tone of the film. It's not something I'm interested in. I mean, it could be, everybody in the film could be completely straight, and it'd be the same. I would feel the same way
Mhm.
because it's just not for me, and I just want to make that clear.
Right, right. Um, well, we have to say what's true, and I'm glad that Chris brought that up. Rambo, he says that's kind of both of you. Sincerely, thank you. Um, and Rainbow also says we never chatted too much, Dana, but hope you are well. Yeah, I always like talking to you, Rainbow. The few times that I have, like when we've been in dead pit things and stuff like that. Um, and you know, Rainbow, I would love to have you on like one of these streams sometime if you ever get time. There's probably something going on in here in the chat that I'm not just I'm not seeing yet. Uh, no, Mayor, I did not yet sign up for Tiffany's Patreon. We're gonna open a can of worms.
Uncle Bill's got a hashtag trend going, cancel Crater.
What the heck?
Please, please do. So
Oh,
I can just drop off the face of the earth. And I
I
don't have to
and
worry about all my real life problems.
I almost spit out my drink when I seen that Uncle Bill said Maggie Gyllenhaal looks like a scarecrow with Stewie Griffith's head. I'm just imagining that. I was like,
That's hard for me to even picture.
uh. Hey, Candace, I meant to say hello to you earlier when you put that. She said I should make a shirt that says, "I ain't got anal syphilis."
I didn't see that.
You
I
didn't see
didn't,
where she put that
no,
up?
I don't know.
It was further up. But she says
Oh,
Brokeback Mountain makes her cry. Yeah, Brokeback Mountain for me, I just think of it as, kind of like a love triangle, I mean, there's definitely a love story there. And so I understand Candace saying that. Um, oh, Rambo, you can come on anytime. Like you're one of these people that I would have on anytime. So I try to let people know, what I'm doing in advance so that they can decide if they want to come on.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Uncle Bill says don't turn your back on the broke back. Yeah, you might wind up in a body bag. That's a WCW Wolfpack
uh,
reference, by the way.
that's okay. I mean, I know some things about wrestling, but not everything. So, I got a lot more to learn. Maybe Steve can teach me. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, why is Steve not teaching you anything?
I don't know. He doesn't take the time to teach his wife to educate his wife on this stuff. Uncle Bill said he turned his back on Brokeback Mountain.
I
Cancel
did.
this man.
It's terrible. No, no, I'm just joking.
You,
It's just not for me, folks. Not for me. But I think the whole Western thing plays into that too, and that's just something I've never been into. And I think my dad just burnt me out on westerns because, like I've said on here before, he was always watching Bonanza, always watching Gunsmoke and
sounds like my
stuff
dad.
with John Wayne and stuff. And there are a few. There's some the Clint Eastwood westerns. That's about the extent of my interest of westerns. But yeah, I don't know. It never really appealed to me that much.
You think if I join their Patreon, Mayor, that they'll come on for Terror on Tour? You know what? I've known these guys for a lot of years, and they probably wouldn't, Mayor. I give them money, and they still wouldn't come on. I try a different tactic with them, intimidation. Maybe that'll work. Um, no, I don't want Steve to try to teach me about South Korean ghost rape exploit.
I was wondering if you were going to read that comment.
No, I have no interest at all in that. Um, but anyway, I guess we'll get to our rating for Windfall before this gets totally off track here. Um, so Chris, I'll let you go first and give your rating. You can explain your rating if you'd like.
Um, Well, I'll be generous and give it a two. Um, just because, like I said, there's certain things in it that I did enjoy. Mostly Robert Englund's character, and I do like Casper Van Dien. And I mean, I don't know him from a whole lot of stuff. Just mostly Starship Troopers. That's the number one thing that I know him from. And he was also in Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp and Christina
Right,
Ricci. And you know, these two films that I've watched this week and last week, Windfall and Python, those were
yeah,
both new to me. Um, as well, Python I had seen before,
right.
but it when I watched it again last week, it felt newer to me, like because I guess there was just a lot of stuff in it that I had forgotten about.
Mhm,
So, and I guess at the time, um, just it whenever you watch stuff after a while, it kind of like it brings back a lot. You have different feelings about it,
mhm,
and also, I guess when I had originally seen it, um, I don't I wasn't even familiar with Casper Van Dien, so to know him from like because I think I watched Starship Troopers pretty late in life. I didn't watch it when it originally came out, but
right.
I'm a big fan of it. And but yeah, I mean, like I said, even though I didn't care much for the movie overall, there are things I liked about it. So that just I guess I could give it a two based on all that.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna give it a 3 deadites out of 5, but one of those deadites goes specifically to Mr. Robert England because without him in this, I probably would have went with a 2, like Chris did. But Robert England's performance in it, a scratch, bumps it up for me to a 3. Um, this movie, like I said, was one that when I started watching, I was like, I'm really gonna like this one. And like I said, I had in my mind that Chris was really gonna like it, and I think Chris thought he was gonna like it more than he ended up.
Yeah, I mean, just based on the concept and everything, and the way you explained it to me, like what it was like, which I do see that because you kind of compared it to Mission Impossible,
Mhm.
and I could see that a bit in a way. I was trying to think of like it. Did you ever watch Burn Notice with Bruce
Yeah,
Campbell?
yeah, I watched a I
Well,
didn't continue with it, but I think I watched maybe the first 2 seasons of it.
which I know this movie was pre Burn Notice, but did you feel like it kind of like the movie kind of felt like a Burn Notice episode,
Come
and
to
Robert
think of
England's character of Scratch was kind of similar to Bruce Campbell's character in
Yeah,
Burn
come
Notice?
to think of it, yeah. I mean, I didn't think about that while watching it, but now that you brought it up,
Yeah.
yeah, it does seem like that.
He
Um,
even and Robert Englund in the beginning, when you first see him in that casino, he's wearing like this white suit and he's got like a
yeah,
Hawaiian type shirt on, and that was as it went on, it kind of progressed. Like I said, I was comparing him to Bruce Campbell's character from Burn Notice. That's something that Bruce Campbell was known for wearing on Burn Notice was all those Tommy Bahama shirts,
yeah,
and
exactly.
yeah, so I don't know if that was like a maybe Windfall was a inspiration for Burn Notice, and we don't know it.
Maybe. But, I think me and Chris were about the same on this one. Like I said, I gave it one extra deadite than Chris did, but, like I said, that one extra deadite goes for Robert Englund,
Mm.
because I think this movie would not have fared as well for me. I don't think it would have fared as well for Chris had it not had Robert Englund in there. I think it would have fell too flat and been like Chris said, it would have been a confusing, kind of jumbled mess because they didn't know what kind of movie they were trying to make.
Yeah,
They
because
kind of threw a bunch of stuff in there.
there's so much like in the movie, aside from like there's like two main subplots here, and it's the heist that they're trying to pull off, and then there's this hurricane coming towards the town. But then there's these two characters, and I think they're only shown in the beginning and at the very end, and they
Hmm.
like work for like a news station or something, and they were trying to
Yeah,
like tell a story between those characters too, which it's like kind of like here and there, and like kind of thrown all over the place. You forget about them at
yeah.
times, like, oh, I forgot about these characters, and it's I don't know, it was a strange movie.
Hmm. Now, I would love for some of you guys in the chat to check it out. I mean, you can watch it for free on YouTube, but like I told Chris, I would suggest that you pick the version that has the commercials in it, the free with ads version, because the other version, I was like looking at when Robert Englund first shows up, I was like, is that Robert Englund? I was squinting my eyes. I was like, oh man, I got to find a better copy of this. And so I went and looked for it again and found that free with ads copy.
And I don't know like how it's set up when everybody when they watch something on YouTube, if their ads are kind of like random, like, or if they're always in the same spots on YouTube videos. But when because I watched this one, the free with ads on YouTube for Windfall, and it had about 3 ads for the whole movie, and they were all towards the beginning of the movie, like within maybe the first 20 minutes. They
Hmm.
showed 3 different ads for me, and then the rest of the movie on there, it was no ads at all.
No ads. I think it is random. Because I've watched things with ads, and it'll be like Chris just said. You might have three at the very beginning, like you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, how many more of these ads am I going to have?" And then you won't have any the
Right.
entire rest of the movie. And then other times, they may go 15, 20 minutes and have an ad. Then they'll go 30 minutes and have an ad. It's just it is very random, the way that they do it.
I like Ben's idea here. He's just next. You can do Everybody Wants Varney.
Everybody wants Varney.
I would love to do a Jim Varney retrospective. That'd be awesome.
Well, I'll definitely put that in my wheelhouse of things that I can pull from. Um, let's see. Rainbow, unless you have, and I didn't think you had a Facebook or anything, this is probably the best way to reach me if you don't have, kind of a social networking site that you use. Um,
Rambo did have Facebook. I don't.
do
He
you
may
have
have
a
deleted it
Facebook?
though. I know I haven't seen
Oh,
him.
you do have Facebook?
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I just haven't seen him post anything in a while. At least it hasn't showed up on my news feed. But I knew I had him as a friend on Facebook.
Um, well, if you want to, I mean, if you feel comfortable and want to send me a friend request, I'm under Dana Estes Benningfield. That's how you'll find me on there, and then I could I could chat with you that way, um, and let you know, hey Rainbow, I'm doing something on whoever. And if you're interested in it, then I can send you the link that way. That's what I do with Chris. I say, hey Chris, this is what I'm covering tonight. Do you want to come on and talk about it? And if he says he does, I'll send him the link. Sometimes I just send him the link and I say, hey, this is what I'm covering. If you want to come on, here's the link. um, oh, and I think you did just send me something. Okay. So I'll take care of that here in just a little bit, Rambo, probably when we're off of this
Rambo,
stream.
my Facebook is my real name, Chris Prater, and like the picture there is just me when I was 3 years old, and I'm dressed up like in a Freddy Krueger costume. So. Yeah, I know that I've interacted with you a few times on Facebook in the past, and I knew we were friends on there, but I don't know, for some reason, like I think it's everybody's like news feed on Facebook and other different types of social media is just like kind of all based on what you kind of interact with, I guess. Because like some of my friends' posts will never show up on my news feed, but they'll like post stuff all the time. And the only way I can see their stuff is by just going to their profile because it won't show up on my feed for some reason sometimes. And I don't know. It's just it's the algorithm of it all. I guess it's really weird to me how that works.
They've messed with Facebook a lot in more recent years, like with the privacy settings and stuff like that. And if people aren't real savvy, like my mom's not savvy about going in there and changing how you want to see stuff, sometimes it just won't show you certain people's stuff, like when they post and stuff. It's
Yeah.
insane. Yes, exactly, Rambo. Facebook is like YouTube, it's broken.
Uh, Speaking of Facebook, a couple weeks ago, I might have already mentioned this before on one of your streams, but a couple weeks ago, I got an invitation to my 20-year high school reunion,
Oh, wow.
and sorry, if anybody from I went to high school with is watching this, don't expect me to be there.
Well, the my 20th was the first one I ever went to, and that was after me and Steve were married. That was like 2014. Um, and that was the only one I ever went to, but I went just to say I went, and I had a pretty decent time, but I just never wanted to go and go by myself. So then after I was married, I was like, well, if Steve will go, we'll go to my 20th.
Well, see, they had a 10-year reunion 10 years ago, and I just it was so odd, Dana. Like I went to it, and it the way some of the people there that I went to high school with, the way they were acting, it felt like we were still in high school. I won't go too much into detail about it, but it was just like I was like, this was a bad idea to come to this because um, I'm the type of person where like I don't want to hold a grudge against anybody forever. I don't even like holding a grudge against anybody at all. But like when I went to that 10 years ago, I felt like, there was a lot of people that are probably going to be at this that probably gave me hell when I was in high school that I necessarily didn't like. But you know what? I'm a different person now. I'm changed and I'm willing to forgive and forget. And it was like, nothing changed. And it's like everybody has their cliques still. Um, and I'm like, okay, whatever. So like when I got that invitation a couple weeks ago to the 20-year one, I just rolled my fucking eyes and I
Mm.
was like,
Did
whatever.
you did you put the invitation on the end of a stick and go put it over a bonfire, Chris?
And I felt like it, but you know what I mean? Like it's just high school sucks for a lot of people. I get that, but for me particularly, it really sucked. it's a
High
it's a
school
bad
sucked
it's a
for me
bad
too.
memory.
Now I'm not sure how anybody acted. They may have acted that way at my 10-year one, but everybody was pretty mellow and nice and did not seem cliquish at the 20-year. Now I'm not saying that's going to be that way for everybody. I'm just saying that's the way it was for me.
I'm
That
curious how big was your graduating class?
my graduating class, if it was 100, I'd be surprised. I think we had a little over 100 actually, though.
See, and Candace tells me about her when she graduated. There was like 300 or 400 or something kids in her graduate because it was a huge school she went to.
Wow, yeah.
See, the school I went to was very small. It was called Allen Central High School, and our graduating class was I think about 55 or 56 people.
So, yeah,
And
you had lit
so it was a very small group, and of people, so they were able to have every single person knew each other, and you think as you get older, as you mature more in adulthood, you think that people will change. If you're cruel or mean or whatever in the past when you're a kid, you can grow up and you can grow out of that and change. Apparently, not the students of Allen Central High School.
It's like, no, we're going to be the same jerks that we were
Yeah,
when we were in
for
high
real, they
school.
was. It's like and they're not necessarily jerks, but just people that thought they were better than other people. That
Uh,
kind of crowd. And I never. That's why that shit never appealed to me, and that's why I never hung out with those people because I never felt like I was ever better than anybody in my life.
hmm No, me either. I've always thought that I was like beneath everybody, and so when people would treat me bad, that would just reinforce
See,
everything.
I'm like that. That's why we get along so good, Dana. That's why we're such good friends.
uh, let's see. Mayor was talking about spaghetti westerns. I have a special affinity for spaghetti westerns. If I had to pick my favorite type of western, and he says in one of the Django sequels has some broke back subtext with the bad guys mask crew.
Yeah.
Um,
And,
Uncle
and while I said earlier that I don't westerns is really not my forte.
uh-huh.
I do like some. Like I said, I like Clint Eastwood stuff. My favorite Clint Eastwood movie is not a western.
Uh,
It's actually Play Misty for me. Um,
yes,
um,
that's excellent
but
movie.
if I had to choose a favorite western um, of Clint Eastwood's, it would be Two Mules for Sister Sarah.
Uh,
And I feel like I think that's my mom's favorite too.
I think mine's probably The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's one that I watched with my
Yeah,
dad.
those are the most popular ones for sure, and it's it's awesome you bring that up because the last time we went, me and my brother-in-law CJ went to see Metallica. They did like an introduction from with the music from Good,
Mhm.
Bad, and Ugly, and like up on the screen, it was the scene from the film when he's like walking through the graveyard of all the crosses and everything, which
Mhm.
is funny because that kind of like mirrors the Metallica album Master of Puppets with all the
Yeah.
crosses. So yeah, that's just a little tidbit I wanted to throw in there.
Uncle Bill's now he's saying he says new show idea. Everybody wants Dana to join Dead Pit's Patreon. Uh and Mayor said that sounds like a hit show for sure, Uncle Bill. Rainbow, so you never heard of Windfall? I'm assuming you say never heard of this one so far. First I heard of it.
Yeah, it was a TV movie. Remember that may be why you had, which I know I'm sure you've seen TV movies and stuff, but it was probably just maybe just one that just kind of flew under the radar for a lot of people. I and me included because I hadn't heard of this film until today.
Uh, Rainbow also says the privacy screwed stuff up. Yeah, I agree completely with that. He says sometimes messages get blocked. Um, let's see. Batman says Facebook ain't broken to me. Candace says I have absolutely no desire to attend my high school reunion.
Well, Mayor, I see your call. You said you never got an invitation to a high school reunion. I'm guessing because the school no longer exists. Well, not necessarily because my high school doesn't exist any longer either, and it's just one of the girls that I went to school with. She's like actually just putting it together at some little fish and game club, I think. And the reason she's doing that is because it's okay to have alcohol in that establishment, I guess, and because that was one of the big things in the invitation was that there will be alcohol. I'm like, oh joy.
Candace says you need to go, Chris, and walk in there with Roman candles in your pockets with self high five blasting from a speaker and
That'd be
flashing
awesome.
the diamond sign to everybody.
Yeah, coming there playing DDP's music. That'd be
I would
cool.
like to see a picture of that or some video of Chris really did that.
I just walk in there and I just recreate the whole end scene from Firestarter.
Chris is gonna go in there and well, we'll get Chris arrested here.
Up with
He,
me.
he's gonna burn up the school like on Harry. He's gonna light it on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man. Uh, Rainbow says, "Nah, I never heard of Windfall." Um, let's see. I agree with Blissful. That would be epic if Chris did that. Which I guess and I'll say again that Chris didn't get a chance to watch Return of Cagliostro because that movie's damn hard to find. That's why I had to get Steve to download a copy for me to watch. And Steve came home from work today. He was like, "Why did you want to watch that movie?" And I said, "Because Robert Englund's in it mainly, but I was kind of curious about what it was." So that's a good segue into me telling you guys what this movie's about. Now, this movie is not going to be for everybody. I'm just going to tell you that right off. But I found it funny. I found it just hilarious.
Well, based on the description I read of it's supposed to be funny though, right? Because it says it's like a mockumentary.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So what happens is there's news footage at the beginning of it where this supposedly lost film was found
Mm-hmm.
by these two brothers. And they thought it was going to be the next big thing, I guess, that they found this. They unearthed this lost film. And what it really was these two brothers, they were sculptors. And they made a sculpture for the church, for the Catholic Church, I guess. And the church was not happy, needless to say, because the statue had a very realistic looking penis on it. And so some members of the church come to the sculptors and they say, basically, we're not happy with this sculpture you guys did. And the first brother looks at it and he says, "Well," he's like, "Father, I don't understand what's wrong with the statue." He says, "You need to look closer at it." So he looks closer and then he notices the penis. And his brother had worked more on this one. And so he hollers at his brother and has his brother come over. And he says, "Do you notice anything kind of off about this sculpture?" And at first his brother's like, "No, I don't see anything wrong with it." And then his brother points at it and he's like, "Now do you see?" So because they get in trouble with the church, I think the church wants them to use their talents for something else other than making statues. So the church gets together some investors who invest their money in these brothers so that they can make movies. Now, the brothers don't make very good movies. I'm just going to tell you that. So they start in like the mid to late 40s making a movie. And you see this I don't know why this little kid's in the movie theater watching this movie because it's obviously not really appropriate for a child to be watching. But he's in there with a bunch of adults and he's like going like this, and very exaggerated stuff. And I was laughing at that. But it gets more and more like offbeat comedy, I guess, is the best way to say it because some people won't find it a bit funny. they'll find it gross probably, because there's one scene where the two brothers are talking to a guy about one of their movies, and the guy just starts like foaming at the mouth and like spitting out white stuff all over the brothers. And the brothers are like looking at him like, what in the hell is wrong with you? Um, but that's all before Robert Englund even comes on the scene. So by the time Robert Englund comes on there, Robert Englund is playing an actor, Errol Douglas, and he's basically the only person that speaks English in this whole film. The rest of them, you're having to read the subtitles to understand what they're saying. So it's kind of relief when Robert Englund got on there. So Robert Englund gets off the train with his wife, and I'm trying to figure out if that was his wife Nancy playing his wife in the film. And I'm going to have to go back and rewatch those scenes and check the credits, because it did look like her, but I don't know for sure if it was or not.
That's interesting.
Um, it could have just been a brunette that looked like his wife. So they get off the train and they say the actor Errol Douglas and his beautiful wife arrived today to be in this movie, and the movie was called The Return of Cagliostro, hence the title of the main movie. And so Robert Englund's character of Errol Douglas at first appears to be this charming actor type who loves giving autographs. He sort of reminded me at first of the real Robert Englund, and how Robert Englund likes to talk with people, and how Robert Englund likes to interact with people and stuff. And he doesn't really mind giving autographs and things like that. But then, as the movie goes along, the movie within a movie that they're making, um, good old Errol starts taking to the sauce, and he's drinking too much of it. And him and his wife end up getting a divorce, because they talk to the older version of his wife, and she says, "Yeah, this was like the beginning of the end of our marriage and all of that." There's even a scene where he's obviously visibly drunk. You don't see Robert Englund. You just hear him talking. He's like, "Get out of my sight." And he's just all drunk. And then he vomits on the brother's shoes. And so they use him for a little while. But then I think, basically, as a lot of actors that are in the limelight, he basically, good old Errol, just self destructs, and you just don't see him anymore. Um, so um, that's basically the gist of this movie. It has a lot of funny parts in it. Like there's one scene where they go to the church and they're talking to some people there, and men play women in this movie too, and it's obvious that you can tell that a couple of these women in here are men with wigs on. So there's a guy playing this little old woman who's sitting there knitting, and she keeps farting, and they keep looking over at her like and trying to move away from her. And so it just has a lot of schoolboy humor, I guess would be the
I feel like, I mean, I've not seen the film, but based off your description, that sounds like a tribute to Shakespeare in its own way too, because
yeah, exactly.
a lot of Shakespeare's plays and stuff were every character was played by a man. Even all the female
Yeah.
characters were played by men back in those days. But I also want to say, Dana, that like I had never heard of this movie either, and I think this is the reason why I love you so much, is that you always take something, even if it's. Well, I'm not saying this is a bad movie or anything, because I can't judge it. I've never seen it. But even if you take a movie that I have seen that I didn't necessarily care for, your description of the films make them way more interesting than what they should be.
Well, I take that as a compliment, Chris. I really
And
do.
you should, because I think you could take the worst movie in the world and you could describe it and you would make it very interesting.
Mhm.
And you could like just do that to just like pull pranks on people, just like, have them trick them into watching this like horrible movie, but just give them like this super interesting description of it and be like, that movie sounds awesome. I'm gonna go watch that right now. And
I
then just
think that's probably what CK and Uncle Bill think I'm doing with Terror on Tour, but I actually do like that movie. I'm not trying to pull their legs or
oh,
anything.
I know you do because I know you, Dana, because I mean you love Blood Harvest, so
I do. I
I
do.
mean I get it. That's it's you.
If I can, the idea you had about the Mervo masks. If I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
make that work, I'm going to make those things.
That would be awesome because I mean that movie, even though I'm not big on it, it definitely has a following.
Hmm.
Who was it that put it out? They did like the soundtrack of it. Was it the S Ship to Shore thing? Was it the ones that the same people
Oh
that
yeah,
released like
yeah.
all the Joe Bob
Hmm.
like vinyls? I think that they did like I don't think they didn't do a vinyl of Blood Harvest. They just did the cassette tape. Is that right?
Yeah, I think did Terrorvision, did they do anything with it with
See,
Blood Harvest
I
too?
know Ship to Shore did Blood Harvest, but TerraVision could have as well. But I just don't. I didn't know if they did.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look because TerraVision does do. They do some vinyl, they do cassettes, they do different things. So it's
Yeah,
possible.
Rambo. Looking at Robert's credits, guy's done 171 acting gigs, and Dana's doing every one of them.
Well, every one of them I can get my hands on. There've been 2 or 3 here and there that I
Yeah,
have
like
not
this one you're supposed to have done tonight. You said you couldn't get a hold of that, right?
The well, I didn't have time to watch it, and
Oh, okay.
that that's what it was. That like a bad dream or as a bad dream, I believe it's under two different titles.
Okay.
Um, well, Rainbow, I will tell you that I have to narrow it down to just
Yeah.
doing his movies. Mainly because we'd be here into the next century probably if I if I
Just the live action movies, like because you're not doing any of the animated movies he did voices for, right?
no. That would probably be a whole other set of streams I could do just for uh, voice stuff, his voice work.
I didn't realize that, Mayor. I was seeing
I
his
did not
comments.
either.
It's where the term drag comes from in Shakespeare's time. The male actors that play women, term that was used is dressed as girls, hence the phrase drag. So I didn't even realize, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't. I'm
I
a
learn
big
something
Shakespeare
new
fan.
every day.
So yeah.
Uh, let's see. Rainbow says, although it'd be funny to see Dana review the Ninja Turtles cartoon where Robert's voiced a dream beaver doing Freddy Krueger.
You remember me telling you about that, Dana?
Yeah, I do now.
Yeah, it's Robert Englund and John Kassir, which is the Crypt Keeper. They're doing like the two different Dream Beavers. Uh, it's so awesome.
Well,
I think you would love.
he was on the Goldbergs and stuff like that. If I was to
Yeah, as
cover
Freddy
everything,
Krueger in that. Yeah, they
yeah.
did. That was the last time I believe he was on film in the Freddy get up.
But I guess I'll get to my rating for this, and I'm going to stay the same. I'm going to give it 3 deadites out of 5, and that's not only for Robert England's part in it, which I will tell you that Robert Englund does not show up until like midways through the film, and then he has a pretty sizable chunk where he's in there. But then as the movie winds down, of course, you don't see Robert Englund anymore. So you would have to watch him in that chunk of screen time that he's got. So the one, again, one deadite is going to go to Robert Englund, and the other two are for the movie itself. Now, that does not mean that I did not enjoy that schoolboy humor. And I laughed. Especially at the beginning of it, where the old woman was farting, and the stuff about the penis on the statue and all that stuff. I don't know. I turn into a kid sometimes, and I just thought it was funny and was laughing at it. The humor is is raw. It's in your face. It's all of that. Um, but I don't know. I still found it fun, and I could see myself actually going back and watching both Windfall and this one, the Return of Cagliostro, um, just to see if there's anything that I missed in there. Um, would I recommend this one? Yeah, if you like that oddball type of humor and you love Robert Englund enough to sit through said oddball humor until you get to his part, um, I'd say, yeah, definitely go for it if you can find it. That's the thing. I could only find clips of it on YouTube. And so that's when I went to Steve and said, "Hey, Steve, can if you can find this, I'd be grateful to you." And sure enough, he was able to find it. I don't know where he found it, but he found it somewhere and said, "All right, I got it downloaded. It's on the hard drive." And he told me where it was, and I went and found it and watched it. But uh,
Um, I was gonna mention something really quick. It's a little off topic, but I just because I got on one screen over here, I got pulled up. I got Facebook pulled up, and just this post came up from Fred Olin Ray, and
oh,
he's been posting like some pictures of like these like pinup models or something like that. The women like in lingerie here the past couple of days, and he'll have like a little funny quote in on the post like he posted this picture of this lady in lingerie, and he wrote, "Come on over." She says, "I got something to show you." She says, "I thought she had a Blu-ray of Armed Response," and there was just a comment that literally stood out to me where this person says, "Yeah, I think I'll unfollow now. I love your cheesy sci-fi horror flicks, Mr. Ray, but I strongly dislike all the pin-up softcore crap." And I'm thinking, have you seen Fred
yeah,
Olin Ray's
exactly. That's
movie?
what I was thinking.
Clearly, this guy don't know what he's talking about. Because that's pretty much like the epitome of Fred
Oh
Olin
my
Ray's film.
gosh, yes. I don't know where have people been. I got a funny story to tell about Fred Olin Ray. Chris, do you remember when you would get those Fred Olin Ray? Well, I don't know if you ever got a Fred Olin Ray DVD like directly from him or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it, but when you would get those, he used to have a little postcard that was inside of the disc, or inside of the case, and you could fill it out, with your name and address and send it in, and he would say, you could get any one of these different things. It was just random what you would get. But one of the things was Miss Kim, Fred Olin Ray's wife, or his wife at the time, bent over in some kind of negligee thing, and I'm like, hopefully I don't get that. And what did I get? I sent that postcard in. That's exactly what I got. So he must have had 10 million of those pictures of Miss Kim laying around.
Well, I never got anything directly from Fred Olin Ray, but I do have one of those postcards inside one of the DVDs that I received from James's collection.
Oh, right.
And so I'm assuming that he met him at some point and got that because when I opened it up, I think it was Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, I think. And I opened it up and it has the little postcard on the inside. One,
Miss James never sent his in and got a picture of Miss
I guess
Kim.
Didn't send his in. No,
And
unless he bought multiple movies from him, and
it was autographed too. Miss Kim autographed it.
oh, was it?
I'm
You
not
know,
making fun of the woman. I'm just saying, like, why? Why couldn't I have gotten something else?
um, but yeah, I've never got to actually meet Fred Olen. I would love to though. One movie that I don't have a physical copy of, which I think it's kind of costly now, is Dinosaur Island, which is that
Uh,
Michelle Bauer's in that one as well. And I don't know, I like really campy stuff like that.
I do too. I mean, I've got Hollywood chainsaw hookers on my shelf, and probably a lot of women will say, "Oh my God, Dana, why would you have Hollywood chainsaw hookers?" But I had that. What was it? The Scream Queens. Uh, hot tub party or something. I think
Oh
I got
yeah, yeah.
that. And was it Linnea Quigley's like workout horror workout video she had where um they were topless in some parts of it and stuff and
From what I remember, yeah, I've it's been a long time since I've seen that, but I have the Blu-ray of it that TerraVision released.
mm,
I got that whole bundle, the Blu-ray and the soundtrack on vinyl and the T-shirt and all that stuff. Um, but that one you mentioned before, the Scream Queen Hot Tub Party. Now, I've only seen that one time. That was a long time ago. But that one's got Michelle Bauer and Brink Stevens in it. But it's also got Kelly Maroney in it.
yeah.
And that's another person I have never met, but I would love to. I've interacted with her several times, like on Instagram and Facebook,
Mhm.
and she's so nice.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm hoping to meet her one of these days.
I wish I had met Kelly Maroney at that Cinema Wasteland that I was at where I met Frank Henenlotter.
Hmm.
'Cause I think she walked up and was talking to Frank Henenlotter, not when I was up there, but, like, later I saw her walk past his table and talk to him, and I wish Steve was like, "Are you gonna go up and meet Kelly Maroney?" Because I said I was, and then I don't know if it was a money thing or what, but for whatever reason, I decided against it, and now I wish I had went up and met her.
Yeah, I've never actually ever been to a show that she was at, so it's just I don't know. And I've been to a lot of conventions over the past 15 years, Dana, and it's just it's weird sometimes when I tell people that I haven't met a particular person and they know as many conventions I've been to, they're like, "How? Like how have they avoided you all this time?" I don't know. Like Jewel Shepard from Return of the Living Dead, I've never seen her at a show that I've been to. Just a lot of folks, really.
I
It
don't
was.
think I've seen Jewel Shepard at a show that I've been at.
I don't think she really even does show anymore. I think she's got a lot of health issues now because she did have a battle with cancer there for a while, and so I don't really know. I don't see her on any kind of social media anymore, so I don't know what's going on with her. But I hope everything's well with her.
Yeah, me too. Um, well, I we've had a lot of people in here for me just talking about or me and Chris talking about a couple of movies that probably a lot of people ain't even heard of. That Robert Englund was in. But I'm pleased with the turnout. I mean, we've
I'm
had
really glad to
people that,
see Rambo come in here.
yeah, I was really pleased
Good
to see.
dude.
Them. Yeah, and by the way, if you haven't went and checked out Rambo stuff, you need to on YouTube because, like just like Deadpit says, Rambo like he must review about 10 movies a day or something. He's a movie reviewing machine.
Yeah, he really is. He's one of my personal favorites on YouTube, and I think he's close. Like if he's not already hit it, then I think he's close to like 25,000 subscribers, which is amazing.
It is amazing, and I think it's because that Rambo is so entertaining. Even if he hates a movie, you find it entertaining watching him tear this movie apart. You
I
know,
can't remember this. There was one where he was on there. It was him and Mark and Uncle Bill, and I think someone else with them. Where and this may hurt your soul a little bit to see him, but Rambo does rip up some slip covers to Blu-rays, including the Scream Factory Return
I
of the
think
Living Dead one.
I think I watched part
Uh,
of that, and wasn't Mark about to have a meltdown?
Yeah, because I think he like Rambo pulled out Rad, and Mark was like, "I will fly to your house right now if you even think about ripping that," or something like that. But yeah, I just that's so funny. I love
I just love watching Mark's face, like when Rainbow even threatens to tear up a slip cover. Mark's eyes just like, what movie is he gonna pull out and threaten to tear the slip cover
oh
up?
man, that's I mean, I wouldn't do that personally, but it's just so funny to me because of how like people could go crazy over like the whole Blu-ray and just like the genre format stuff, like the 4K stuff. Like,
Mm,
um, I I just buy movies because I don't buy them. Just I don't care what format they're on. I really
right.
don't. I mean, as long as it's available to me, even if I just have if I have Halloween on VHS and that's the only thing I have it on, that's fine with me. That's just I'm not a picky person when it comes to quality of these films.
Right. Now, see, some people will buy, I'm not saying all people will do this, but some people will buy a movie. Like I've seen them. Steve used to watch this one guy. I think his screen name was T Money. I don't know if any of y'all have seen this guy, but I haven't seen him do a stream or a video in a while. But he had his own spaghetti sauce or barbecue sauce, and I guess he made a lot of money off of it. Okay, but this guy would buy 3 of the same damn movie, and he'd say, "I've never seen this movie," or "I hate this movie." It's like, why, man? Why? If you're spending money on stuff you don't even like, give me some of that money and I'll put it to good use. I'll buy something I like. But he'll
Yeah,
buy 3 copies of a movie either one doesn't know anything about, never seen, or he hates. Why would anybody do that?
I never understood that either, Dana. If like I get there's a whole lot of completionists out there, I guess you could call them. There's people out there that have to have everything, and if they don't, they get a sense of that. Well, like I've said before, that FOMO, that fear of
uh,
missing out, and
but I don't know why you would need 3 of the same exact version of the movie. There's no difference in them.
and yeah, I don't get that, and I'm not a fan of the buying these movies, even whether you like them or you hate them, just because you think they're going to be worth something one day and you can resell them. Like
Yeah.
to me,
I'm not
that's
interested.
defeating the purpose of being a fan of this stuff.
I'm not calling CK out at all because I know he does this a lot. He will buy 1 copy for himself, but usually it's something he likes though.
Hmm.
He will buy 1 copy for himself and 1 copy he's gonna flip.
Well,
But
that's fine. No, I think that in that situation, it's acceptable because at least he likes the movie and he's keeping a copy of for himself. And I'm not going to because I've done the same thing with action figures, Dana. If
mm,
I will buy if I know something's I can maybe make some money on, I will buy it, but I will always buy 2 of them.
buy 2 of
So
'em.
I will that way I'm keeping 1% because I'm actually genuinely interested in that.
But here's the dark side of that whole thing is Steve tries to do the same thing that CK does and fails miserably at it. And I can't tell you how many times Steve has done, like, he's talked to CK, and CK said, "Yeah, man, I bought 2 of these." Like, does anybody remember when that Harry Manfredini like CD set came out? Like, it's been many moons ago now.
I remember it, but I can't remember when that was.
So here's what happened. CK bought 2 of them, and I've said this before. I will continue to say it till my dying day. That CK has the type of personality. He, in another life, he must have been a car salesman. I swear that man could sell a turd out of his toilet. I am not kidding you. I've always said this about
Um, yeah, Wes is a very good salesman for sure. I'll give him that. If I can give him credit for anything, I would. It's that he's a fantastic salesman.
So, but Steve, bless his heart, I love my husband, but he's not. He doesn't have that, whatever that salesman charisma is that CK has. So when he heard that CK was doing that, what did he do? He went and bought 2 of them himself, and he about never sold that damn second one that he had. And I said, Steve,
It happens sometimes. I've been stuck in those situations myself. Like because I just I don't know. I don't know how that works really. Like I don't understand. Like because you see some people having success, but when you do the same thing, it doesn't work out as great for you sometimes.
hey, Russell. Russell says, hey, Dana just popped in. And Ben says, now you've given CK the idea to sell turds.
Don't put it past him. It could happen one of
The
these days.
official CK turd from my toilet. Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, they did used to go acquire KFC buckets and sell them.
And this dummy bought one from them too.
Oh, did you?
I did. I will never do that again though.
Well, I mean, like I said, they've sold all kinds of stuff over the years. They used to have this poster. Not really a poster. It was like an 8x10, and it was
Mm.
just like I think it was like it was some zombie on it. It was like from a cover of an older zombie movie.
Was it that Dead Pit movie?
No, I think this was like Revenge of the Dead or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I've got it in there, and then like they signed it, and paid like $10 for it, and I wouldn't give a dime for their autographs. Now that I know them, and I'm not putting them down, because those are my friends, and I ain't giving none of my friends money. I don't, and that's Dana included. I don't give her money for her autograph.
I wouldn't I wouldn't ask you
I
to.
wouldn't expect Dana to pay me for mine either.
Yeah, I could just see it now, like, somebody, I don't know. I don't even know who would ask for my autograph.
But
I mean,
anybody that is interested in that, they are selling autographed 8x10s right now with Eli Roth, Jamie Lee Curtis.
I don't know. I need to ask CK how many of those have they sold.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that number as well.
I wanna know the numbers. Um, but see, this is the kinda tug of war, like, back and forth, just, you know, busting somebody's balls, and I don't even have balls,
They
but
do it to us all the time, Dana, so it's fair game.
yeah. Ben says he has a Dead Pit on the Road DVD from way back. I bought one of those damn bombastic bundles. Chris, you remember those? The bombastic bundles with the Dead Pit on the Road, and
I don't,
forget what season it
I
was.
don't remember.
I bought that damn thing too.
I've bought all. I know I've bought a ton of the fan commentaries that they would sell at conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of those, which Wes is, all jokes aside, Wes is a really good dude, and he's gave me a lot of stuff too. I'm pretty sure he's
Yeah,
gave
he's
me stuff.
given me stuff as well. When he found out I didn't, I bought several of those fan commentaries for movies that they
And
did.
like I think you said last night, he even like when your dog Brandon passed away, he sent
Mhm.
you that shirt
He
with Brandon
did.
on it.
He
So
did.
that's really nice.
And I need to wear it more, but I forget sometimes. And now that I'm making my own shirts, I just like, I'll make me a shirt like this and I'll make me a shirt like that. And Steve says this shirt here, the Robert Englund shirt, or the I Love Robert Englund shirt, he says to advertise my personal shirt, I need to put the deaditesondeck.com on the back there as advertising. That way, if somebody says, "Hey, where'd you get your shirt at?" I can say, "Well, I make them, and this is my website. And you can go and purchase your own if you want to." Batman, you say, if I bought an 8x10 of JLC, I would put it in the ground and straight up piss on it. Yeah, I know how you feel about Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, does I apparently don't know. Does the Super Batman nerd not like Jamie Lee Curtis?
He doesn't like something she said to a fan, I believe.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, she's heard it all and seen it all. I mean, and I don't think she kind of has like a bit bitchy older lady attitude about her, but I don't think she means to come off that way. I think it's just
I think
how,
she has a sarcastic nature
yeah,
to
yeah,
her.
like she was like that to me when I met her, and I told her that I was a fan of House Arrest, and she's
Mm,
like, "Is there something wrong with you?" Something, but she said it like in a joking manner,
yeah,
to where like it because I got it. I understand and she was like making fun of the movie. She's like, it's like who names their kid Grover? Really? I mean, because and that's the same kid that played Gunther in Paper Brigade.
Paper Brigade, yeah.
But yeah, overall she was super cool. She very classy lady, if you ask me.
Well, I've told y'all numerous times about my experience or my non-experience because the poor guy in front of me dropped
Yeah,
his
because when she
posters
was
all over
distracted,
the place.
that was a messed up situation, I guess.
I was just the unfortunate person that was behind this guy. But that guy was nice too. Like I don't know if he was rich or what. He was offering to buy people drinks in line, and he was actually leaving the line and going to the bar and getting people whatever drinks they want and bringing them back.
Rambo, you said should have said your favorite was Virus. She really put one over on you. Now, I don't. There was a guy that was up ahead in the line in front of me that met her. I don't know if he said that his favorite movie was Virus, but the one thing that he brought to have signed by her was her first action figure, which was from the movie Virus. And because I remember her standing up and like holding up the figure, she's like, "This is my first action figure," and I was like, "Yeah," and it's from a really shitty movie.
Hey, Alpha Romero. Alpha Romero says JLC is a horror legend, but not a horror fan. Those
Yeah,
are usually the most disappointing guests at conventions. She is
yeah,
not a horror fan per
she's
se.
not. Unfortunately, I mean that there is a lot of people from the genre that are not typically horror fans. Even when they were doing the horror films at the time, they weren't necessarily. They were just doing it for a job.
Hmm.
And they didn't really care about the genre or they couldn't understand the the concept of like people enjoying these films like we do.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that you see a lot of that nowadays too with some people coming from different horror films from back in the day, and they're doing their first ever conventions and stuff. Like the guy that played Gino in Sleepaway Camp, he was just at that FrankenCon I went to in Knoxville, and I'm I'm regretting bad, Dana, for not meeting him
Mm.
because like he added me on Facebook. And at the time he added me, I had Ace Frehley as my profile picture, and he just randomly sent me a message out of the blue telling me how much he loved Ace Frehley and that was his favorite guitarist, all this stuff. Dude is incredibly nice, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
man, why did I not meet him at that show? Because he took pictures with every single fan that came to
Mhm.
meet him on his personal phone, and he uploaded every picture with every fan he met at FrankenCon on his Facebook. And he was just like, from what I heard, 'cause my friend that I went with, he actually went to meet him while I was in there doing something else. And I told him, I was like, man, I wish I went with you when you met him. He's like, yeah. He's like, he's like super new to this whole thing, and he didn't even realize there were fans of Sleepaway Camp or
Yeah.
his character. And he said somebody said something to him about cosplay, and he was like, what's cosplay? So apparently he is completely new to this whole world, but like he quickly, is accepting it. And I think that's the kind of people that I want to see, that
Wow.
like there may not necessarily be a fan of the genre or anything, regarding that, but they are accepting of it and they look at it as a good thing. Like, wow, I've really put, um, I've really, like put a lot of, I guess I could say like inspiration on this person to, I'm one of the reasons why these people love this movie. It's really cool to learn that like he didn't realize this was a thing. But I
Uh-huh.
hope he was open to doing more shows because I would love to meet that guy.
I was laughing at Rainbow's question. He says, "Random question: How much money would it take for Dana to suplex Uncle Bill? I think she can do it."
I think she could too, Rambo.
Uh,
I'd love to see that actually.
y'all gonna take bets on whether I can suplex Uncle Bill?
Um,
Take up
Even if
the
you
offer.
can't, Dana, I'll help you do it. We can we could put him right through one of the celebrities' tables at a
And
convention.
then we'll all get thrown out of the convention. Oh man! And then if it happened to be Harham where Robert England was at,
Yeah,
I'd cry.
We'll put it through Robert Englund's table. We'll just skip everybody in
Robert
line and
England be like,
just throw Uncle Bill through a table.
then we'd all get kicked out and not get to meet Robert England.
And then Robert Englund will be like, "That was the best thing I've ever witnessed in my whole career of covering
I
these
can
things."
imagine Robert England saying something like that.
He's so nice. He probably would. I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, Robert Englund's incredibly nice.
Uh, I don't. I just when you said that, Rainbow, I was thinking of that Halloween party at Jenny Wiley where I was not in the room. I don't know what exactly went on. I just heard a bunch of commotion coming from one of the rooms. And the next thing I know, Uncle Bill's complaining that Steve broke some ribs on him, that evidently there was some alcohol involved, and evidently people got a little too
I,
happy.
I would I would pay good money for video of that.
Yeah, I don't know why somebody didn't like get out their phone, and I was sitting on the couch in the living room area, and a bunch of them were back in one of the bedrooms, just roughhousing, I
What
guess.
year was that? Was it like 2012, 2013, or something like that?
Oh, gosh, I guess me and Steve were living together. No, we were. I guess we were married at that point because it
Mhm.
was a Halloween party, and we got married in August. So I guess it was 2013 because
Okay.
that's the year we got married.
I just I remember during that time, like I mean, people had smartphones and everything and record video, but like I know during that time, like the phone I personally had was like absolute crap, and like the anything that I tried to take video of on it just looked like I was like filming from a potato.
Rambo's heard about that story. He says Steve suplexed Uncle Bill onto a bed or something. He did something like that, and like Uncle Bill said, when he woke up the next morning, he could hardly move. He said, "I think Steve broke my ribs." If Uncle Bill's still in here, he should give his side of the story again. But I don't know. Uncle Bill might have made a drive by.
I'm gonna after this. I don't know why I didn't think to do this last night, but or not last night, but Sunday night when we did the stream for Ghostbusters, the watch along. Um, I'm gonna go in some of the Ghostbusters groups I'm in on Facebook, and I'm gonna post that link to that, so maybe it can get you some more hits on there,
Oh,
Dan.
cool. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it. But on that note, this has been fun, and I really, really hate to go, but 7:30 comes around early, and I always forget how early Chris has to get up. I'm
Well,
sure that's around.
I don't know how you do it, Dana. Like, I mean, I would hate coming into work at 7:30. Like 9 o'clock is what I go in. I have to be in there at, but that's even too early for me because if you know me well, if I have a day off, like if say Friday night, because I don't work on the weekends, so
Mhm.
Friday night I will stay up pretty late on Friday night, and most time I'll sleep in to well into like 12, 1 o'clock
Mhm.
the next days because
Well,
uh,
Steve won't let me do that. He's like, "Time to get up, Dana. Time to get
well,
up, Dana." He won't let me.
Candace, that's where me and Candace, I think we get along really well on is that because we both we both do the same thing unless we have to be somewhere. Now
Right.
there are times when I'll have to meet my mom and dad or something, and take Noah to so they can like take him somewhere like because my mom and my dad live over in Floyd County, so they'll come over here every other weekend and like pick up Noah and take him back over there and yeah, so those are like the only times that like if it's on a Saturday that I will get up pretty early just just to go meet them. But if I'm not got anything planned or anything, then I'm most likely going to be sleeping on Saturdays.
And boy, believe me, I would if I could, but Steve has never been able to sleep in like for well, I think when he had his job at Honeywell, he would because he didn't have to be there until like 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
But then he had to work till like 7 or something like that.
Well, it's all a matter of how a person's routine is.
Mhm.
Now, I know that Steve goes to the gym a lot, so that's that's just a routine thing for him, I think, because I my friend Tyler does the same thing. My friend Tyler gets up at 5 o'clock every morning and goes to the
Mhm.
gym first thing to start his day. So it's just everybody has different routines, and
Yeah.
that's just how I look at it.
And my routine is staying up late, and
Yeah.
then I would like to sleep in. Um, Thankfully, it doesn't backfire on me when I've got to work through the week because I've stayed up till 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning and rode out of bed at 7:20 and stumbled back to my desk to get started with
And
work.
that's tough because like that's what I do usually about like on the dailies. Like I'll at least stay up to about 2 in the morning, and that's about that's the latest I'll stay up if I have work the next day. But like I said, if I don't work the next day, you sometimes expect me to stay up till 5, 6 in the morning. Just because like I feel, now the reason I do that is because I just have to justify to myself that I have to all this time that I wasn't able to use throughout the rest of the week to watch movies or do something, go
Exactly.
through my stuff that I need to or whatever I need to do that I didn't have time for the rest of the week. So that's why I will stay up late at night to try to get that stuff done and get caught up.
Yeah, I mean, I told Steve, I said, I don't like to waste my time sleeping. I'm one of those people, it's like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, you know?
Yeah, that's the attitude to have. That's what I remember that I used to say that all the time when I first met Candace and we were dating, and she's like, "You stay up late all the time." I said, "I'll sleep when I'm dead."
I'm gonna start telling Steve that. I'm gonna make a shirt that says, "I'll sleep when I'm dead," and they'll have a
Or you know
zombie.
what? And you could do it in like the Nightmare on Elm Street text
Yep.
because it kind of
Yeah.
like relates, you know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that and put like, I'm gonna make myself a zombie using AI. I'm gonna take a picture of myself and make myself into a zombie.
Can you put stuff on the back of shirts too?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
That would be neat. If like on the front it would say watch more movies or something, and then on the back it'd say I'll sleep when I'm dead
Mhm.
or, or something like that. I don't know. Just that would be cool.
Yeah, I'm not against, custom work, so, that's probably gonna be coming, some type of shirt like that.
and I forgot to mention this because you mentioned it before I came on camera, but I love your shirt. I love how that
Like
turned.
the I'll show it off again for anybody that didn't get to see it clearly. Uh, but, this is the new Scooby-Doo movies. This is a
Yeah,
Scooby-Doo, uh, Robert Englund, in this case, horror mashup shirt. I've got a Kane Hodder one too.
I love that decision you went with on those, Dana, because that was my favorite Scooby Doo series growing up was the new Scooby Doo movies. Because I always loved that opening before each episode where it shows Scooby and Shaggy shining a flashlight on whoever the guest star was for that
Yeah.
particular episode.
Yeah, and Candace said too that I think she was talking about the color of the shirt too makes this look retro.
It does. It does.
And I didn't realize that till I was actually doing these shirts and the
I
Carol.
think another one that would look good is if it like on the actual design of your shirt, there's like the dark blue background.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
wonder if you could find like a shirt that would match that color, like a navy blue or something like that.
I probably could now. I For those darker shirts, I would probably have to use the printable heat transfer vinyl because the
Oh, well, I guess.
sublimation won't work on the darker shirts.
Well,
Uh,
that makes
but
sense.
that would be an idea. I could certainly do the printable heat
Well,
transfer.
I just say you have a lot of incredible ideas here lately, Dana. I mean, I've been trying to. Me and Candace have been promoting your stuff, telling some of our
I
friends about it and
appreciate that.
stuff. Trying to, cause I mean, and it's really like the candle stuff that you're doing and the tea stuff. I mean, that's really neat. And the images you're putting on those, while they may be AI, they look so cool.
Well, I was really shocked at how good the AI turned out. It was like I was talking to Dirk the other night, and Dirk's wanting me to do a shirt for his
Hmm.
painting business. I don't think he'll mind me mentioning that. And um I mentioned, about the AI, and I said, I think the key to getting a good AI image is knowing what keywords to put in there.
Hmm.
Like, you have to be really specific. And sometimes, even when you're really specific, you'll get these weird anomalies in the picture. And sometimes I won't notice it right off. But then sometimes there'll be like a third arm coming out of somebody's chest or something. It's just very weird.
I've seen stuff like that. It's
And
bizarre.
I was trying to do Robert England and Scooby Doo together, and there was a really cool picture that turned out. But then I got to looking at it, and one of Robert England's arms was Scooby Doo's leg and foot. And I was like, okay, that's odd.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't communicate well with the AI from what I've seen. Like I've never actually made any kind of AI, or I don't even know what to use. Like I know there's a lot of different ones,
Well,
but
Gen Craft is what I'm using right now, and I'm really liking it.
like a friend of mine likes playing with it, and he he messaged me the other night, and he's like, "Have you messed with this Meta AI stuff? It's on Facebook now." I said, "I don't even see it." Like, and he was trying. He took a screenshot and showed me where he goes, like in his messenger or whatever. It's like it says Imagine. I'm like, that none of that what you're showing me is showing up on my phone at least. So even if I wanted to use AI, my phone is not allowing me to see some of these options for some reason.
Mhm. And Steve's been using an app on his phone, and I asked him to send me the link. It's a AI face swap, and he's
Mm.
done some really cool things with like he took he took my face and put it on the severed head from the Nightmare movie we watched the other night, and it was so funny. And actually, Nightmare is what I'm going to be talking about the next time we do a Eurocult show in a couple of weeks. That was my pick. And Steve's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm not watching that movie again. I've
Well,
seen
why not, Steve?
because he's just being Steve. He just don't want to do it."
I like the movie. Cause it was my first time seeing it when we did that. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's easily compared to Maniac in a lot of aspects.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I really liked it, and I also liked what was the kid's name in that CJ? Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I liked that kid.
the little bratty prankster of a kid there. Um, Blizzle says, I told Dana I'd frame some of the Terror Time teas. Yeah, I mean, you could always, frame the pictures from those things. I mean, nothing says you couldn't peel the image off of there really carefully and
Yeah,
use it.
she could do that, or she could buy one of those shadow boxes and just put just stack the teas inside of a shadow box. That would look
Yep,
cool.
yep. I mean, I'm gonna start practicing making the tea because I think I've gotten the right combination of how many teaspoons of each ingredient I need to put in the tea.
Hmm.
And I'm setting these up for somebody to be able to make 15 cups of tea per 10. So I've got that figured out how many teaspoons of each ingredient I need to make 15 cups of tea. And so I'm really looking forward to like starting to make those blended teas up. And my sweet mint and my spearmint, it's growing beautifully out there. I was afraid that storm was just going to drown them, but thankfully they withstood the storm. You'd order a print, Blissful? Well, I guess if we think that they might sell, I guess I could say you can order a print. If you don't want to get the tea, but you like how the image on the tea tin looks. I mean, maybe I could do something like that for people that just want to frame them and put them up on their wall in their movie room or whatever, just as a decoration. But I'm open to a lot of different things. But gang, we've still got 13 people in here. But as I say a lot of the time, all good things must come to an end. And this has been a really enjoyable show. And I enjoyed once again having Chris on here. And I enjoyed all the conversation in the chat. And you have a good night too, Rambo. And thanks for stopping by again. I really appreciate that. Appreciate everybody's support of my little channel. Um, but Chris, is there anything that you want to talk about or promote or anything before we
Uh,
call it a night?
well, I think here after we get off of here, I think me and Kenneth are going to be recording a new episode for TerrorVision because where we had to skip a couple weeks ago where we went to the Judas Priest concert. Um, so we're going to be trying to catch up on that and get that recorded so we can release that on our channel, on the Death by Stereo podcast channel. And we may record a new video did tomorrow, either tomorrow or Thursday, so we can get a new episode of that up on the channel as well this week. So, but other than that, I mean, I could promote that I gotta go to work again at 9 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, but I don't want. But who wants to promote work?
Not me. Uh, but I guess we could promote that we're thankful for our jobs, that they bring in a paycheck.
Well, yeah, I guess that is true.
But the last thing I wanted to say before we get off here is just to remind you folks that I will be doing another Apples and Oranges tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking about all things Terror on Tour. What exactly is wrong with it, and how does it compare to the other rock horror films of the time? Um, Good night, Blissful. And we'll tie this up with a nice, neat little bow, and I'll give my tagline that I've been using for a while now, and that is to remind everybody to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And we'll see everybody next time. I'll see everybody tomorrow night. Hopefully, Chris will want to come on here with me at least.
I may come on there. I've never seen Terror on Tour, so I won't have much input on it. But
You
yeah,
can watch it
why
on
not?
YouTube if you want to, Chris.
Well, yeah, I'll do. Actually, I'll do that tomorrow during my breaks and stuff. And a little bit
But
after
I'm not
work.
responsible if you have to have your prescription on your glasses adjusted because this has hurt your eyes so bad.
Yeah, if it's on YouTube, yeah, sure. I'll check it out tomorrow.
Thank you, Alpha Romero. You say good night, guys. Enjoy listening, and yeah, we're gonna get out of here for now. But I will be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Apples and Oranges. Bye, everybody.
All right, have a good night.